service dog gear, a label to the public, a brand statement by organizations, a medical tool to aid in tasks, a fashion statement, a node to legitimacy, and yet not required at all by law. Guys, we are back. We are back with the gear haul. So much has kind of changed since my last gear haul. My last gear haul where I showed you everything was probably about a year ago, with the early pieces that I was adding to Pochita's collection as he came into my life. And things have definitely changed, things have progressed, things have, like, how I see and want gear has changed, especially since the OG video, which is the Peak and Me gear haul, which is my more known video on this platform. I think we can all kind of think of seeing, you know, a maybe not legitimate service dog out in public with any kind of Amazon slapped on vest that says service dog, and we can tell, us as handlers can tell by the behavior of the dog that that is not a service dog. And we also subconsciously see the cheap Amazon gear on it and kind of make that association. Cheap gear must equal non-legitimate service dog, which is just not the case ever. Like, it's just not the case at all. There are just many instances in which it's just more affordable. It just makes more sense, or practically it just works better for that team. There are so many instances in which it can work better, but I just want to get that all out of the way to say, yes, I will be showing you custom gear. Yes, I will be showing you why I have chosen custom gear or why I have these pieces. It is not a knock to other service dog gear, secondhand service dog gear, Amazon service dog gear. Wherever you get your service dog gear is fine, because it doesn't even matter. You don't even need service dog gear to work your service dog in public. That brings us to, you know, the ADA states that service animals are not required to wear a vest, a harness, or anything in public while performing their tasks, which also means just because a dog is wearing a vest does not mean it is a service dog. The harness and or signage does not identify a service dog, and yet we still use it in plenty. So I think we're like, again, I think where a lot of this stems from is, you know, there was a reason, a purpose of why dogs were wearing those harnesses. Especially when we look at guide dogs, we can see the kind of classic harness, the straight front harness, which is a harness that goes over the chest of the dog, and then has the long handle, the guide handle, that the person would hold on to have that contact point between them and the dog's movements. So originally that was kind of the service dog equipment we were seeing on service dogs, right? Is this classic guide harness. And there are so many images that pop in our head when we think of this. Now, when the definition or the idea of service dogs kind of expanded as well, it was no longer just a guide dog. The gear also changed functionality as well, right? There were different needs, different wants, different criteria people were looking for gear. People were saying, oh, I really want to label my dog, because it does help when the public can see that is a service dog by a title. So to have a clear label that says do not touch service dog became pretty important and pretty sought after. So whether you had a psychiatric service dog, a medical alert service dog, having that accessible label to the public just kind of made sense and worked. Now, there were more in-depth things as well. There were types of harnesses, the fit, what was easy to clean, what was waterproof, all of these more particular bits that expanded what service dog gear really could be, or what people wanted, or what people needed. My own journey with service dog gear has changed a lot, as some of you guys know or have seen in my previous gear videos. When I first got Peak, he was officially and fully started his service dog training as a psychiatric service dog. 110%, that's what it started as. And so initially he just had vests along with these little nifty things, which are what I call pull straps. These got added on to his vests later on. And this especially is just like a textured one. This is, again, a preference. I really like the material, and I used these to simply like have a stimulation, something I could rub, hold, ground myself. When I was with Peak, if he was on my lap, I could hold this, I could grip it. I had this for me, sensory wise. And so that was pretty much the extent of my gear. As my needs changed overall, as I got diagnosed with a pretty nasty, gnarly, fun little back condition, my mobility began to decrease, and just other needs in general for longer working days, different things, my needs changed. And the dog I got also changed. So the gear I got has changed. And even in that sense, even within a year, how I have chosen to accessorize or utilize my gear has changed as well. I'm here to show you the gear and kind of just rant and jabble blah, 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 about gear as we go. Right off the bat, we have my go-to piece, my main piece, and it does have the handle on it so you guys can see what that looks like. This is pretty much my main piece of gear and pretty much what I'm using all the time now. This is where it provides the feedback when eventually Pochita does do tasks like forward momentum pull or other tasks like follow, find and exit, different things. This is my contact point. This is a leather harness. This one in particular is made by Dino Dog Gear. It's a very lightweight harness. I believe it's like a red burgundy-ish brown leather. It is padded. So she is padded. As you can see, this does have this padding. I believe this was one of like the first leather harnesses made that was fully released by Dino. So I'm sure edits have been made to the design. As you can see here, it does have some reflective bits, and this is my go-to harness. It has a buckle and the adjustable portion here. It's very nice. It's very simple. It's to the point. I, as you can see, accessorize it as I see fit that day. And it's kind of like my everyday gear. In addition, it's also pretty universal. I think people often can see this kind of harness and go, hey, that's probably a working dog, whether or not there are words to describe it at all. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you know I had a lot more vests and harnesses before. Now I think I'm pretty much down to 3 harnesses in total that I switch between and a number of capes. This old harness that is actually going back to the shop to be repaired. It is old, as you guys know, or may know if you have seen the original video. This harness was Peak's, and oh my god, it is adjustable. Now it does have a self-added like addition to make it bigger, but this still comfortably will fit Pochita, and it is much more of a casual harness. As you can see, there is no big guide attachment. However, it does have a pull strap. This whole harness is probably 4.5 to 5 years old now, and overall is still in excellent condition, other than this botch job that, you know what, it's going in for repairs. It's going to be officially redone. Something simple like this, a vinyl material with some webbing, clear words, has honestly been great for us. It makes sense, it works, it's easy to store, hold, keep. It's a nice piece of gear. I love this thing. It's very nice. This again was made by Dapper Dude. It is not what their current work looks like. This is a very old piece of gear. I unfortunately don't think I have one of their newer harnesses. However, I do have some of their capes I can show you, but I can't wait to show you guys this once she comes in for repairs and I get, oh, it's gonna be so nice. I'm very excited to see this harness live on, be revived, and continue to be used. I'm very excited about that. I figured we could get it all out of the way at once, all the harnesses at once. This is another favorite harness of mine that I have, and you might be like, that's a very different shape. This is a very lightweight and reflective harness by Canine Blueprint. It's floppy here because it's not on a dog, but I can definitely post some pictures of what it looks like while Pochita is wearing it. This is another harness I absolutely love. I love it at airports. I love it at doctor's offices. I love it when he's working all day and just needs something very lightweight and airy. This is a great harness. It's also really nice to use when it's raining and I don't want to use my leather harness. This is absolutely beautiful. Again, I'm sorry it looks flimsy. He needs very expanded things. But again, I will show you it while it is on him as well. I very much like the Canine Blueprint harness. However, I did have a bit of issue at least me personally, with the ordering process, it was not just straightforward, very simple to me. Again, that might be just me. That might just be a skill issue on my part. I did end up with the gear and harness I wanted. It was very interesting for me to assemble because it did come in pieces when I got it. But overall, it is truly one of my favorite harnesses and one I'm very glad I invested in. I would say the price point of this one is also more reasonable than if you were looking at like a leather harness. The Dapper Dude harness I also showed you is much more reasonable as well price-wise. So again, that's another thing to consider with gear. You know, there's a lot of service dog gear out there. There's harnesses, different types of leashes, attachments, cooling vests. You could pretty much find anything for a dog, from goggles to booties. There is an attachment for dog gear. So really finding out what is essential to your team, what you need, what your state, what your location, what your event needs is all very personable. So for me to say, hey, you need this just not gonna work. It might not be true for you and what you need in your dog while they're working. Those were pretty much my staple harnesses. As you saw, again, very nice pieces, very nice harnesses. But what I do is I have those 3 simple pieces and I accessorize. I love a good accessory, which is gonna be most of this gear haul. I'm going to show you the capes, the leashes, the treat bags. We're gonna go over all that as well. So I think I kind of just want to show you straight off, like right off the bat, is some of my very custom gear. This is a custom cape, as you can tell, for my lab boy, Pochita Man. It is him as a Mimikyu. This is a very themed setup. It is, of course, way more decorative than it is, like, you know, educational. It's mostly for cons and events I go to, or even a Halloween costume where I want my dog to be festive. And this is where it goes on to the fact where we're talking about custom gear. These are totally wants and additions to gear. It is not very impactful in terms of it helps me or it aids me as a medical tool. This is preference. But I do like having a bit of preference. I love having a simple cape that I can attach to my harness and go, look, it's now like has a little accessory. I love that. This one's also pretty functional in the form that it has zippered pockets. Love that. It's very detailed. Love that. It's got, I believe this is like the satin lining underneath. Love that. And as you guys are gonna tell through my capes, you're gonna see very much so that I love a skinny boy cape. These are not large or the normal size you would see on a bigger dog. Normally they're a bit larger. I do have a comparison for you. I like the tiny capes. That's a preference. I've been ordering them for a while. I prefer them to look like this. Now, this particular cape is by a shop called Fish and Fin. They do take customs. They do take very limited customs, and they do by choice customs, which again, that's totally preference of the shop. They have decided to do a method of shop where they take applications, they pick the ones that inspire them because they do realize they are a luxury shop, a more just customization shop, and then they work on a big project. These are more expensive. This does not have to be your go-to cape. These are just extra additions. But as you can see, there's a lot of customization, there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of one-on-one working with the shop. The price does reflect that. This is kind of where I can show you like something a little bit different. Yeah, this is, I think, my one singular vest that I own, and it is, as you can tell, Pochita themed. I got this in a trade where I was trading old gear for a new piece, and this piece is actually by Dapper Dude. Very different than the other harness you have seen by Dapper Dude. It is Pochita's harness. Originally, this was his training harness, so he had in-training patches, and now he has his big boy patches. It does say all devils are born with a name, and then it says Pochita, and then it says do not distract. And then on the side, service dog, do not distract. It's got little add-ons because you can add keychains to your vest. Do whatever you want. It is your service dog gear. It is for you. You get to decide what you want. So this is his. It's also amazing quality. It's held up incredibly well because he did all of his puppy training pretty much in the singular harness. This is it. So, you know, you can really make one piece of gear last forever because, as you can see, this has truly aged with him, with his adult patches that now just say service dog versus the in-training ones. It's very easy to clean. It also has the zippers. Great, very functional. Now I have some other capes too. These are more so inspired by like Over the Garden Wall. Again, we can see this is very thin layout of how the cape is. This does not have any webbing or padding, and the straps that stick through the harness are velcroed on the back. This is much more of a design I've been seeing picked up by more shops, to have this whole strap go inward. This is a full vinyl cape, so it is a thicker material, and I would say it gets pretty dang hot. I probably wouldn't use this cape in the summer or even later parts of spring. I do like the pockets. They are pretty deep. I can fit like full medication bits, poop bags, everything like that in it. This is a Patience in Love cape. Very nice, very ominous, over the garden wall themed. As you can see, the goal was just to make it creepy, weird, a little bit off, fall-like, all those things. That is where we got this cape. So one of my remaining themes with gear is that some of this stuff was passed down from Peak, which definitely means the world to me. Those pieces that I have that were of Peaks that I am able to own again, or some people truly were so sweet and offered if they could send, or if I could buy the gear back that I had sold them that was like fully customized to Peak. And that meant a lot because he's gone. And so to have those pieces is really nice. So also fair, like little warning, you know, if you do have customized gear, if you do have something really special, if you do have your dog's puppy vest, you know, there is like this idea in the service dog community to trade, sell, or get rid of gear that you're no longer using. I'm more hesitant to do that now because I did lose a dog very suddenly, and these are little mementos that I have of him that mean a lot. So this is one of them in particular. It is our Barbie cape, which I absolutely love. It means so much to me. It means a lot to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is a gear haul. We're not gonna cry. His gear means a lot to me. This is a very old cape. Again, it does show wear. I told you guys I need to clean my gear. The pockets in this are incredibly more roomy than what you've seen before, but this is also a bit more of a wider cape. I love this. It is a So What Co. cape. It is very light. It is very simple, and it means the absolute world to me. What was so fun about the sets originally and still now is how much you can accessorize them. As you can see, these are also both made by So What Co. This is a medication bag, meaning I can just like strap this on to the harness. It clips and it can carry all important medical information, a card, or as well as I literally just said medication. It can hold medication, cards, information, whatever you need can really fit in here, and you can just kind of attach it if you don't want to do a full cape. This is very nice too because this is for my walker. This literally attaches over my walker, gives me an extra pocket. I love it. It's a little accessory that kind of just pulls the full fit together. I like it a lot. I have another Dapper Dude product. This is another cape. Again, you guys might be able to tell, this means the world to me. This was a cape that was made by Dapper Dude after Peak had passed away. It's honestly also a really lovely collab because this image was designed in tribute by Dino Dog Gear. They had been a really big part of Peak's growth, and so to have two shops really come together and send me like this memento of we appreciate and remember your dog as Pochita's taking over. This cape is really amazing and special to me. It was inspired by the tarot card Strength, and it's really nice. It has both my boys. It is beautiful. It is pastel. It is lovely. It's a very lovely tribute to Pequeño and Pochita, who is following in his footsteps. So you're like, Carmen, gear shouldn't be this deep. This is why it is to me. It means a lot. And you don't have to have the same experience with gear. You could throw your gear in a bucket and be done with it. You do not have to give as much of a shit about your gear. You don't have to care. It means a lot to me. I decide to personalize it. I decide to do the things I do with the gear that I have because it means a lot to me. And this is a great example of that. I told you guys I had a lot of Dapper Dude stuff, and it's because I have so much fun working with Dapper Dude. Unfortunately, my lights are dying, so I do need to put new lights in. But here's a great example of why the pocket could just be fun, especially if you're doing cosplay sets like this one. This is a cosplay cape. It is fully supposed to be fun. It is a 3D, yes, a 3D cat buzz cape. This was so much fun. This was a wonderful project to work on with Dapper Dude to really see their creativity shine through. This is such a fun project. So you have like the bus windows, everything going on. I can stick the lights through it, and it looks like cat bus, and Pochita is a little cat bus then, and it's very cute. I absolutely love this piece. I do have a few more pieces. I'll probably show those as pictures because I literally cannot find the cape for the life of me. It is also a very loving and important cape to me. It is one of the last capes Peak wore to a con. It was initially made for Palace to represent Palace being ditto and being fun, and it has now just been passed on to Pochita because it means so much to me. I'm also very aware that some people work with organizations and cannot fully get custom gear, and people who ask me then, how do I accessorize, how do I do this? Well, if you have a gear set for your organization, it's more than fine to wear that. In fact, I think by some places it's required. You could still ask to see if you can accessorize through collars, bandanas, patches, leash wraps, tabs. All of those things can make great additions and accessory points to your gear without altering the gear given you by the organization. So to show that off, I'm going to show some of my patches. These, of course, you can add to pretty much anything. You can stick them on yourself. You can stick them on your training pouches. You can put them on your dog through Velcro additions on their existing harnesses. And of course, some of these I'm able to list. This is made by Sew It Co. This is like a Stardew Valley one. Very nice. Love that. We also have this Sew It Co set, which this is a stray Sew It Co. This actually belongs to my friend Ash, but it's here for safekeeping. We have the Has Been Hotel patches. This is one of my favorite. Again, being able to key into my special interests, my love, my passions, and being able to incorporate them into my gear is kind of just how I like to do fashion overall. So I loved having a themed show inspired one. I have these lovely fall ones. I absolutely love these as well. Trendy ones, as you can see, like these are Bonita. If you guys remember the Bonita trend, that is where these came from. Very Bonita. My service dog is Bonita. Do not touch. That is not Bonita. I do have some patches here that I do love. I unfortunately cannot recommend the maker because they got canceled. That is a big thing in the service dog community, is canceled, except this person was canceled over dog abuse, so we no longer support. But of course I have the patches, so they're here. So I do have some other ones by unlisted and unnamed shops, and they're fun. Unfortunately, I just don't have the shops to recommend to you, or they are closed or out of business, so I'm so sorry about that. But I do have some good ones, and most of my patches are made by Sew What Co. There are other patch shops, which I can try to list additional places you can just search for gear, other than what I even own of reputable shops I do know. But again, remember, your preference is going to be key. If you have a price range, all of those things come into play and are up to you to kind of decipher who you end up going to for your service dog gear. You may have seen me show off the pull straps a bit earlier. I do have these in an immense amount of colors. These are by a shop called Freckled Frog Gear. I do not know if they are taking orders any longer or if they still have a shop going. I love them because these are incredibly sturdy. I've literally had these since peak, and they are really stretchy. They are very sensory friendly. I have a lot in here. This is how I wash my gear, is by keeping them in a protective bag. I have a lot of these protective bags. This one specifically was a patch bag, so you can wash your patches in this. This is a Sew What Co product. To keep them safe while washing them and putting them through the machine. You can also hand wash. This is primarily how I wash my gear, is through these bags. I find it very convenient, and normally if I can, I do let them air dry, but of course you could do a gentle cycle as well. This is what I recommend. I don't have too many treat bags to show you. I pretty much will use and have used any kind of fanny pack at my disposal as a treat bag. The bigger the fanny pack, the better. Recently, my only dedicated dog brand for treat bags has been this brand called Puppington. I like them because they're essentially look more like purses, which is very nice for me because, as you can see, I like to accessorize. You can add purse straps to them, and they kind of are just really fun to use in a more decorative way. As much as I love a fanny pack, sometimes it's nice to not have a fanny pack. So I really like these for treats. Now, they don't have that insulated inside, which would be a bonus, and you can find in some treat pouches, especially if you're using raw or more meat and cheeses in your reward system. That's great. I'm often using kibble or freeze-dried things, and this works great for us. So 10 out of 10. I really do like these. I think another thing you could talk immensely about just people having way too much but also easier to acquire is a ton of leashes. And that's not to say it's bad. Leashes are pretty versatile in the fact that you can have anything, and sometimes it's easiest to work your dog in a collar and a leash. This itself is called a traffic leash right here. Ooh, let me see if I can actually. This is called a traffic leash. It's a very short, small leash. It really just has the dog right next to you. And if you're not using a leash all the time, like if your dog does have a task where you need to let go of the leash or your dog would get tangled, having one of these is great because you can grab it, hold it as much or whenever you are walking your dog, and then as soon as they need to perform the task or if you need to let go, you just let go and it doesn't drag or get tangled with the dog. It's just right there. It doesn't mean let go of it and just let it swing all the time, but you know, it's a useful tool if your dog is working off leash. And then pretty much you could go any route you want with leashes. And I am a person of many a leash and many a type of leash. Many of my leashes are going to be this thickness and they are going to be, I believe they're called like OTS leashes, and they are, as you can tell, mine are dirty. I use them a lot. And basically what that means, correct me if I'm wrong, I am just a gear consumer. I am not a heavy gear maker, and so many of the terms change constantly. This does mean that this leash can be adjusted, as you can see by these points here. It can be adjusted. It does have a ring in the center, so I can change that. I can change it. That means it loops around me. I can change that if it's a slip on the dog. I can change so many things because I have connection points to change how the leash functions, which is basically how that works. The type of leash that I definitely always have in my car or on hand is going to be what's called a slip leash. This one's pretty tangled and knotted because it's just the one I could quickly grab at my disposal. And normally there is like an attachment at the point where it would stop so you could adjust where the slip goes. But basically it kind of is in the name. Its purpose is that it can slip onto a dog over the head, and then it would normally have that stopper to make a point of contact to like close the loop that goes around the dog's neck. Sorry, I guess mine's here and I just have a knot interfering, but this would be the stopper. And these are great. They're great to keep in your car, to keep in an emergency bag, to keep on hand with you if you're going on a walk and you encounter a lot of loose leash dogs. Carry a slip leash. It's great. And they're light, they're small, they're teeny. You can get a teeny one. I like this very thin one. I believe these slip leashes, potentially, I don't know about this one, but normally the ones I get that are this size are from a place called CSJ Creations, pending. I will correct that if that is incorrect, but that is what I get. I pretty much have a monsoon of leashes and they are plentiful. Mine yet is this little patch. If you guys have ever had a leash wrap, sometimes you know those suckers just fall off your leash, and it's kind of a pain. They have gotten better at the designs. A lot of shops have gotten better at the designs of making them a bit less a pain, but they can still separate. This is one of my favorite little Amazon finds because it truly like wraps like a circle around the leash. It's very small and it just sucks onto that leash and pretty much stays in place. This is great. This was very cheap on Amazon, and you know, it really does the job. Sometimes if I normally keep this in my car, so if I did forget gear, if I just need to run out real quick and I have a leash, I have a collar, boom, my dog is labeled. And sometimes that's really all you need. I have too many other things to show you as part of my gear collection. It has shrunk dramatically since the last time I showed you gear. To show you just a bit of accessories I do like, I love these Dino Dog Gear biothane bows that I can wrap around my harnesses and just add a little sparkle. You can add keychains as well. I just like bows. I like bows. They're cute. I also recently discovered I love decorative beaded collars. This is a palace collar. It does not fit on Pochita. And this is not to attach a leash to. This would shatter. This is purely decorative, but my dogs don't wear collars when they are loose and not being like trained or working. They are naked. This is decorative. This is for pictures. This is for fun. This is for cute. This does not get left on all the time. It's up to you if you guys ever want this or an additional accessory to a collar that you have functioning. These are just more so decorative fun pieces rather than, hey, this is going to be my go-to dog walking collar. I wouldn't recommend it for that. They're all kind of just stunning, gorgeous pieces. I like that. I like a little decorative piece. That was a lot. That was exhausting. That wasn't even I guess all of it, because I have so many little accessories and knickknacks and like fine-tune things that get added to the big pieces. Thank you guys so much for joining for another gear haul. Kind of literally what started my account, my channel, my everything. So thank you for letting me yap about gear, because I truly find the whole layout of how all of it works so fascinating, so fun, so exciting, and something so specific to be able to be changed to every single person and their needs. I love it. It's very fun for me. Thank you guys for doing another gear tour with me. I appreciate you guys so much. I can't wait to show you more. I can't wait to show you new pieces that are coming, how I've decided to continue growing or upgrading it in the future. I'm really excited. A lot of these pieces have come together over a long period of time and have finally all come together, which is really nice, as you can see in like my finished looks. I love it. Thank you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.